If you've had your page for a while and no one seems to be visiting it, maybe you should look into why that is. One option is to work on improving your domain rating. Why? People are more likely to visit your website after finding it in a search engine if your domain rating is high. Increased visibility for popular search terms is one benefit of a high domain rating score. So, basically, what is domain rating? How to verify it, and why it matters? When a website has a high domain rating, it means that it has received a lot of quality backlinks from other reputable websites. Having a backlink means that another website has mentioned yours by including a link to it on its own. And a higher score would indicate a more popular site, like IMDb or the New York Times. If these sites connect to your site, your domain rating will increase. This, then, is an example of a domain rating. It goes by many other names, such as authority domain ranking and many other terms. So going back, you can navigate to this website called Domain Authority Checker and input the New York Times domain name to obtain the website's domain ranking. We can actually do that by copying and pasting it over here. After that, you can click on the check button over here to verify that you are not a robot. And as of right now, you can see that the overall domain rating is 95. If you don't mind, let me look it up on IMDb right now. Again, copy their URL, and then all I have to do is paste the website name here. So, IMDb has the same rating of 95. The New York Times is, without a doubt, one of the most widely circulated newspapers in the world. And yes, there were times when getting backlinks from these well-known websites was not sufficient to increase your domain rating due to the fact that if the New York Times links to your website, the domain ranking it receives will not be as high as the domain ranking it would receive from IMDb. The New York Times usually always links to the same website with every post they write. This means that there are millions of websites that do the same thing, all of which are linked to or backlinked from their own websites. Since IMDb only backlinks to 4,000 or 5,000 other websites, receiving a backlink from IMDb would really result in a higher domain rating for your website, compared to what you would receive if it's from the New York Times. Does this mean that a backlink from the New York Times will not bring as much traffic to your site? That, of course, is completely incorrect. Because if you acquired a backlink from a massive website or journal, you would still naturally receive more traffic. However, I still believe it's crucial to not rely on the domain's popularity alone. In order to raise your domain's ranking, you need to think about and examine the sites you link your website to. Now, suppose you decide to adopt this simple website despite the fact that it contains no backlinks. But before we get to that, I'm hoping you're still watching and enjoying this video. If you agree, please hit the like button, and if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. If I copy this plain domain that doesn't have any domain backlinks and paste it into my website, the Domain Authority Checker will tell me that it has a ranking of 1. However, if I were to receive a backlink from a single website like IMDb, which has a very high DA ranking and allows domain authority, the DA of my site I could get is roughly 35. So, for example, I would go ahead and get a trendy domain name if I were to optimize this website for search engines. I'd go ahead and update the site with new terms, promote it on social media using a wide variety of keywords, and make use of popular tags and descriptions. You should evaluate not only the overall number of links, but also the quality of those links leading to a website. When it comes to backlinking, quantity is not indicative of quality. Having 57 backlinks on your domain name is not necessarily indicative of good quality backlinks. You need a backlink from a reputable source. What this indicates is that you are receiving natural backlinks from a larger website. Avoid the temptation to simply grab as many backlinks as you can. You need to acquire backlinks from a wide variety of reliable resources with real content. It being said, if you want to raise your domain authority, that is one of the most important things you can do. Now, moving on. A website's domain rating from 76 to 80 would be a significantly larger improvement than moving from 3 to 4. This is because initially, even if I only managed to convince 1, 2, or 3 completely unrelated little websites to connect to it, my website's domain authority is 1. The higher your domain authority, or DA, the harder it is to increase it. For example, if your DA is currently 55, increasing it to 56 or 57 will be much more difficult than the first step you took. And you will need backlinks from larger and larger websites as your domain authority increases. In addition, I mentioned earlier that the domain authority would increase if the referring websites were higher in size. And that's why I don't think you should rely on it too heavily when making your website. The domain name authority or domain rating is not that important if you have a solid website and are producing authentic material. For example, consider a website that has 1,000 referring domains that all point to the same website. It's highly doubtful that these links would do any good for the connected page. Also, you shouldn't inflate the number of resources dedicated to your domain's ranking at the expense of quality. And if I want this site to get backlinks, I simply keep adding it to my own sites. Moreover, if the site is merely linking back to other sites with 0 domain rating, then I won't see any improvement in my own domain rating. This is something else to think about when working to improve your domain's page rank. Whatever you decide to do with backlinks, be sure to keep them in mind as you work to improve your domain's ranking. Whether you decide to work with a firm or construct your own backlinks, it is crucial that you recognize the importance of the source of the backlinks you create. And now guys, you have it. I'm hopeful that by taking these few easy actions, you'll be able to boost your domain's rating. Do yourself a favor and subscribe to the Digital Guides channel right now to receive similar instructions and good tips in the future. We'll see you in the upcoming video.